my name's Lizette and I'm a professional chef and a nutritionist, and I love to cook all kinds of different food and help people get back in the kitchen or maybe get into the kitchen to start cooking more. And today I'm making one of my most favorite family recipes. This is something I've been making since I was actually, I think about 12 years old is when I made my first pot roast. And it was one of those dishes that my family wanted me to make. They both worked. My mom and dad both worked hard all day. My mom was a beautician. My dad was an engineer. And when I got home from school, they would say, put the roast in the slow cooker, because by the time they got home, it would be ready. So I'd have to put it on high, of course, back then, so that it would cook in time. But what I learned was how easy this dish was, and how sometimes the simplest things simplest foods are the things that taste the best and that bring you so many great memories. And so this is one of those dishes that just really, it's like brings the comforts of home right into my heart, and I just want to share it with you. So pot roast. There are so many ways to make pot roast. This is the way I've learned to make it. I'm actually adding a few extra things from back in the 70s when I made it for my parents in their little slow cooker. And what I'm going to add is some carrots, which I usually did, and some potatoes, but I've got these fancy marble potatoes that we're going to add in. You can add any kind you want. This is just what was available. I love all the different colors. And then a lot of onions. So I have a variety of red onions and some yellow onions here. And then of course you want a lot of garlic. So I've got about 2 whole heads of garlic. And these are pretty, spicy garlic heads. So I'm going to just stick with the 2, I think, for this recipe. And then I want to add some turnips, and I found these turnips at the farmer's market, and I thought that would be kind of a fun ingredient. It's actually very classic, and a turnip is similar to a rutabaga, so you could also use a rutabaga or a parsnip. So any one of those work really well. Turnips are part of the brassica family, so another little detail. And then because the turnips are kind of this earthy, slightly mild flavor, and then we have the onions and the carrots, thought we could add a little bit of sweet. And we really thought about doing this because we have a lot of leftover from the holidays. I got a lot of butternut squash and a lot of what I have here is some acorn squash. So the takeaway here is look at some of the winter vegetables that you have on hand. They make great vegetables for a dish like this, because they all cook nice and slow. Oh, I got another one hiding in here. This is a celery root. I'm going to just chop it up, we'll peel it, and we'll add it to this pot roast. So the first thing we want to do, I have 2 big roasts. Of course, you can cut this recipe in half, and we'll have the method for you, the recipe, so that you can get it. But I'm going to be making this for a lot of people. So I have these 2 big roasts, and we're going to brown it first. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get the stove on, and then we'll get started. Presenting 2 huge roasts. Aren't they beautiful? So first thing I'm going to do is salt them generously with sea salt. And I usually put my salt in a separate little container and then salt every side. The reason I put it in that container is so I'm not reaching back into my salt and then salting vegetables later. That's cross-contamination, so don't do that. I'm really fast at this. Okay, now we're going to brown it, and I was browning it a little bit, but then I realized I had to film this, so that's why it looks like that. So normally it wouldn't look like that. Did you see it? Okay, they go in, and this is a big brazier, so that's why it holds these 2 big roasts. If you have a big pot like a Le Creuset, you'll probably be able to handle 1. Brown it well, and then check it, and then turn it over, and you just want it to just start to brown like that. And you can always turn it over again. See, I gave the thumbs up. I could go a little longer, but I couldn't wait to show you those little bits in the big far corner there that are brown. And you see how quickly now it browns on the other side because the pan is nice and hot. And see how it sticks a little? So be careful, give it a little wiggle. that's it. I mean, you just turn it over and over and get all sides. I find this to be probably the most time-consuming part of the recipe because you got to be right there, you got to do it. And then once it's brown, you just take it out. And I feel like that's good enough. I mean, I could go further, but look at the bottom of my pan. You see all the caramelization there? Those are the kitchen treasures that I'm going to siphon, is another word for it. And adding the red wine, I'm just going to scrape the pan to pick up all that flavor. Just do this quickly. That's it. Now add your roast back in. And then we top it off with some sliced onions. I have a combination of red and yellow onion, any onion. You could even use leeks, you could use shallots. I mean, sky's the limit here. Just use an allium, that's the family. And then some garlic. Now, I could have put pieces of garlic, but I just was trying to I want the flavor and I want this garlic to roast in the bulb like that, so I just cut it and put it in their open face along with some thyme and some rosemary. Actually, there's no rosemary, it's just thyme, sorry. But you could add the rosemary. You can tell, oh, and there goes a little bay leaf. And then stock. So this is a really good beef stock that I made. Homemade beef stock is best, but you can get good quality store-bought too. Just add it up so that it fills up about halfway. You're not making soup, you're making a braise. Once it's covered, cook it on low for an hour. Alright, so now we have the turnip. And we're just going to cut off that end and the rat tail end. And then we just make a surface to cut into. See, just like that. And these are hard vegetables, so just take your time and cut them into chunks. The long braise will cook these, and actually the natural sweetness in the turnip will come out. And then look at what I did. Now we're going to turn our roast over. Let's get the other side cooked. Everything's ready to go, and then I just add my veggies now. So there's potatoes, carrots, and I got these baby ones, and these are real baby carrots, not the kinds that are whittled down to look like little baby carrots. Those are baby carrots, guys. And then my marbled potatoes, and just add them in, just like that. Look at all the colors, aren't they pretty? Okay, and that's it. And now, add more stock, because you see I've added more stuff, so I've got to fill it up a little bit. And then just push down the veggies with a wooden spoon. I have another 2 hours for the roast to cook now. So now I'm starting to call it a roast, and vegetables are in, and this is the home stretch. And there's a lot of things we could do once it's finished cooking. We'll talk about that later. But right now, this is like a little longer haul. We got about 2 hours for the meat to get fork tender, for all the veggies to be perfect, and still at that 325 degree, nice low and slow. This is slow food, happening right now. It's slow, and it's totally worth it. So what to do? I could read more. I actually have some menu planning to do because, I cook for a living. And so I'm going to work on that for a little bit. And then literally what happens while this roast is cooking in the oven is, it's ready. It's almost like you walk into the kitchen and boom, you get hit with this aroma that's amazing. I mean, there's nothing like it. And if you don't have time to do this recipe like I'm doing it here in a brazier and in the oven like this, you can always use your slow cooker. Get a slow cooker, and you could start it in the morning, and then when you come home from work, you have dinner. It's totally ready. This exact same recipe, you could do it that way. And we'll show you how in our recipe. You could also use an Instant Pot, So I don't know, and you know, I have one, but I like doing it this way, the old-fashioned way. All right, guys, we'll come back. Oh wow, look at that. See? So that was cooking for about 3 hours. Look at that broth. All right, so now I'm just going to take out these big beef. They're not cubes, roasts. Almost said beef cubes. So put them in a pan and then take out the veggies so you can get ready to make the sauce. And then I'm going to reduce some of the stock. So I took out the vegetables too. We're gonna flavor the stock a little bit and add the wine and make this weird mauve color. It doesn't look good right away, but trust the process here, guys. You just give it a whisk, and then we're just gonna turn up the heat and let it simmer. And then, I've got this. Now, if you don't have this, you don't have to use it, but this is a demi-glace. So that just kind of heightens the flavor. If you don't have it, you could add a little balsamic vinegar if you want more wine, or just keep cooking it. Just keep cooking it. You could add later a little butter, but we'll get to that because I do that. Let's whisk it. And then we just let it cook. So just make sure it gets together. That's what I just did, and it's just cooking. It's just time and heat. So you see, I actually could increase it to more of a boil. It's not going to upset or ruin this sauce at all. It's just going to make it work faster. Okay, and that is actually ghee, not butter, but you could add butter. Ghee is a clarified butter, and it's been ghee. You know, they do this in Indian cooking, and it's slightly browned. Okay, just whisk it in. That looks so much better. Doesn't that color look better? I hope you like it. It's delicious, trust me. Bring it to a boil, and now add some sea salt. And little finishing touches like this. Some pepper, and really adjust the seasonings to your taste. So be sure to taste this, add more butter, sea salt, pepper. If you want to add the rest of that demi-glace, I may have done that. And now, oh, look at that. So now my roast is completely done. And you just ladle that on top with all the veggies, and it's delicious. Add some green. This dish needs a little sprig of parsley, and that's not just for looks. It's actually nice to have some greens. Okay, so here is the pot roast. I elevated a little bit with that sauce I made because I reduced it, and I never used to do that when I was 12 or even 15 or 18, all the years that I've been making this pot roast for my family. But, you know, since learning how to cook professionally, I learned a few things along the way. And when you reduce those sauces, it's amazing. So I can't say enough about it. And this is just part of all of that pot roast we've been cooking. It's a small part. It's what we're having for dinner tonight. And I'm going to share this, but gosh, I gotta have a piece. So I'm just gonna take a little piece. I don't think this is my first piece, but I gotta try it with this sauce. So this sauce is just a reduced broth. There's a lot of broth left over, and we're going to add it to the rest of the pot roast, and whatever else is left over, it's just something that you can sip. It's a sipping broth, or you can use it in another dish. So just kind of bring it around like that. Oh, it's so good. The perfect beverage. A nice glass of red. One of the most perfect meals. I hope you try it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Please subscribe. Just, you know, we're going to have a lot of recipes coming forward. A lot of different, you know, challenges for you to get you to cook more from home. So let us know what you think, and make any of our recipes. So join us. All right? See you later. Bye.